Greetings from Northumberland. It's the 29th of May. We're nearly at the end of the month. It's a bank holiday weekend, and after a glorious day yesterday, we've got one of those sea frets, those sea mists that come in and envelop the coast. I'm hoping it'll burn off later for family get-togethers, because like so many families in this country, we're meeting up with people who we haven't seen for many, many months. And it's a really great experience to be able to do that and feel some sense of reconnection with them as at this weekend. Which brings me to a little announcement so that you can know which direction we're going in this benefice. Here and in our benefice at Beadnell, Ellingham and North Sunderland, the plan is that from the first Sunday in July, which is the 4th of July, we will be moving to a normal pattern, a fairly normal pattern anyway. We'll be having services in each of our churches each Sunday, and that means that both myself and some retired clergy will be covering the services, and we hope that we'll be able to start this pattern again and to continue it then from that point onwards. It's a sign of hope and a sign of our feeling that things are going in the right direction. Of course, there are still clouds around, and all of this will depend upon government reports that will be announced about the middle of June, and then these plans that we have will be finally confirmed. But just to let you know that what we're thinking is that we'll be returning to the sort of pattern of services we had as we entered 2020 from the 4th of July. Of course, we will continue to be vigilant, and of course we'll continue to do all that we can to make things safe. We don't know the details about things like social distancing in church, about masks in church, about singing in church, and about the restoration of the chalice. But our guess is that these are things that will happen over the next months rather than immediately. So please look out for more information, which we will give to you probably about the middle of June, and then further details as we approach the 4th of July. I'm just going to say a short thing about the reading today. We're in Mark chapter 11, and Jesus is in conflict with the religious leaders. And I think it's a very important picture that we have here in Mark. And this conflict in Mark is quite powerful, and it comes up very quickly. As I said yesterday, we dropped into Mark's Gospel at the point we left it off. And we are looking at Jesus coming and approaching Jerusalem and meeting opposition from the religious leaders. Because what he said was turning their world and their understanding upside down. And they feared him. They were confused by him. And in today's passage they say, by what authority do you do this? Why do you do this? And Jesus said, let me ask you a question. Think of John the Baptist, the other great prophet of the time. Did his authority come from himself or from God? And of course everyone believed in one way or another that John's authority came from God. And so the religious leaders daren't say that it didn't. And of course then by inference they would have to accept that Jesus' authority came from God. But they couldn't do it. And so Jesus refused to enter into this dialogue with them. But I think it's an important question for us. There's another place in the Gospels where Jesus says to the disciples, who do you think I am? People of faith have to make a decision. They have to look at Jesus and decide, is this God's Son? Does he make demands? Does he say things that challenge who we are and what we are? And are we prepared to respond to that challenge in a life-changing way? Because if Jesus comes from God, then that's the inevitable conclusion for us all. So the challenge for me every day is to look at Jesus and to say, does he have the word of life? Does he speak about God's love and God's presence and God's care for me and for everyone else in the world? And if he does, then I must follow him. And that's what's true for you. When you look at Jesus, do you see someone who maybe turns the world upside down, but who speaks to your heart and says this is a better way to live? And the truth is, I think, in the present situation, after this last terrible year, where we have seen, let's make it clear, so much self-sacrifice and giving, but also so much that is falling short of all that. We need to find a path and a way to live that makes a difference for our world. Who do you say that I am? And who do you want to follow? May God bless us as we answer that question.